How are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah. Yeah, I can't believe school starts tomorrow for us. What about you guys?
Tomorrow for us too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always get kind of sad when they go back to school because, like, the pacing of summer, even though they're going and doing things, it's just so much nicer. Like, I just feel like we're going to be back in that whole, like, I just look at the kids and they look tired. Because, the middle two are in high school and then
hmm
he's in middle school. And so the bus for them, that comes at like 6:55.
hmm
And of course, Luke and Emma are gonna ride together in the car, but Mikey is gonna take the bus. The bus actually goes to the high school, and then there's a transfer that then takes the kids over to the middle school.
Oh, wow.
So when so I guess when the car's in the shop and stuff like that, all of them will have to ride the bus together. But yeah, it's kind of sad. Just like, ugh, back to it. And I was writing everybody's schedules because
hmm
we have one of these calendars. I'm old school, so I keep like a Google Calendar, a paper calendar. I have a paper like a paper planner also that I just carry around for me. And
hmm
I have my scheduler inside of my clinic documentation too. So like I have schedules everywhere, and I was just trying to like write everything on everything and get everything organized. And both Emma and Mikey have practice today, I think from 3 to 4:30. One
hmm
has to practice at the park, the other one's practicing at the high school, and Mike and Luke is practicing this morning. He just woke up and is like gonna drive over to the park to practice. They're all doing cross country.
hmm
Just yeah. It's we're just gonna be going. Ugh. How's Hannah's schedule looking for crew?
Yeah, good. Well, they're both in high school now, so they're both on a similar schedule for rowing, which is nice because last year we were doing the whole like, especially in the winter, they were doing the middle school does their winter program at the middle school, and then the high school is at the boathouse. And there it's about like maybe 15-minute drive. So that was always interesting trying to get people where they need to be at the same exact time. But now they're pretty much doing the same thing. They'll be at the same races. They're on the same team. So that'll be a lot easier. And actually, I always feel the opposite. I feel like I have a neighbor who stays at home and she always dreads the end of summer. And I feel like the end of summer for us is just the most chaotic out of the whole summer because, like camps are pretty much done, rowing's done. Well, it starts up again. Like right now, they're kind of doing their, preseason or whatever you want to call it. They're just rowing before this. But again, like we're still working. We used to try to take vacation right before school.
Yeah.
And with this job, when I took this job, we realized like that doesn't work because colleges obviously start a little sooner. And it was kind of like that rush right before classes start. That's when students really need to meet with an advisor. So then we would try to go a little earlier. And now we're kind of tied to whatever Chris can get for his week. Like he literally has like an hour to choose his summer week. And it just always seems to be like, we get not a week that is ideal. But anyway, so it's like, it is what it is, like I've taken a lot of time off this year, but like the end of summer is just chaotic because they have practice every day and it's the normal school time, but they're not at school. So there's no carpool to get them there. So that means we have to figure out how they're getting there and then get them home. And yeah, and then there's just like, it feels like this year, especially with Labor Day being so early, there's just not enough time to get like, we did school supply shopping. So I did Keegan's school supply. He needed like a whole new wardrobe too because the kid's growing so crazy. Like he had an event to go, like it was like a very fancy birthday party they both went to on Saturday. And I didn't know he was going until the very last minute. And it was like semi-formal. It was kind of like, I mean, Hannah and I kind of figured out like what dress she could wear that she already had. And then I was like, I don't know if it's gonna fit into, we had bought him like a suit for the end of like work, like in May,
Yeah.
for like
Mhm.
all the end of the year activities for eighth graders. And I was like, I don't know if he's gonna still fit into it. He's growing so fast, but he did. Luckily, he fit into it. So, And it just was like, I just feel like it's just nonstop until we can get back into like the normal routine. And then we've got all the built-in transportation. I think that's probably why like I feel it more because I'm still like the primary transportation person. Mm, And then we got the carpool we're all signed up for, and they'll take, even if I drive in the morning, they're both only going, it's technically two schools, but it's a similar time. It's like 1 minute apart start time. Mm, and they also liked riding the bus because our neighbors usually take the bus. So they want to do that like the first day at least to do it all together. And then even so, like it's early enough that like I can drive them and still have plenty of time to get to work and still be early, which I'm happy about. And so yeah, it's just like, oh, the end of school, the end of summer, I'm just like, I just can't wait for school to start because it's just so hectic leading up to it, and then I feel like it can finally have our norm. I'm a person who likes to live in the norm. Vacations are nice, but by the end of vacations, I'm always like, I'm ready to go back to normal life. And I think that, I mean, I'm very blessed to feel that way. I have a very calm norm. When I'm in the norm, I'm in the calm era.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, like, I'm the opposite right now. I'm just like, "Oh, all the chaos is
I know.
through." In senior year, I remember when
Hmm.
we went through it and how stressful it was. I was just like, "Oh my god." I'm like, "This well, at least this time it won't be as bad. I know what to expect." At least in my head, I know the things that are gonna be kinda coming up, like, ordering cap and gown. There's gonna be an email from that. I've already ordered the yearbook. We've gotten senior pictures done. There's gonna be senior breakfast and all the different things that kinda come up, not to mention, like, open houses and
Hmm.
Timmy, but Luke is thinking about doing early decision for RIT, so that will it'll simplify things in one way and complicate
Hmm.
things in another because RIT is expensive. So it's like,
Right.
so if he decides he does early decision, he gets in, and then from there, it's going to be okay. How many scholarships can we stuff in? So the time he would have spent on a bunch of applications, he's going to have to spend
Hmm.
a bunch of scholarship applications. So hopefully, I'll set the cost of that. So yeah, keeping our fingers crossed. I mean, with all the things that are going on, and there is a normalcy that is nice. The idea
Hmm.
that they're waking up at this time,
Hmm.
you're getting home at this time. It's just logistics. I'm worried more about logistics right now, but
Yeah. Yeah. And the long days, I get that too. Yeah. It's,
long days, and kind of like figuring out, is it worthwhile making dinner? Should I do a formal dinner at the end of the day? Is everybody going to be home? And then Timmy's on gap year this year, so
Mhm.
he finished up at the public pool downtown yesterday, and now he has 1 day off, and then he's going to start lifeguarding over at the Y, which is 10 minutes from our house. So
Nice.
and then for him, like, just trying to figure out, okay, like, what else am I gonna do besides working this year? And
Mhm.
trying to figure out, I guess we probably should have looked into mentorships and all that type of stuff during the summer, but there just wasn't time. So
Yeah.
maybe something for winter where he'll be
Mhm.
go and do something with someone. If anybody out there is looking for a kid around, be mentored by them, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
Yeah. Well, even, like, getting in the boredom zone can be very helpful for, like, trying to figure out, like, what would you rather be doing? So it's just as long as he doesn't have, like, that time suck that, is not productive, that lets him kinda keep busy, but not in a productive way. I'm thinking, like, video games and stuff like that.
No.
Full limits on that if
That he'll have to put a little bit of discipline. I told him he doesn't have to
yeah.
start today. He should probably start. I was like, "You should get on the schedule that your siblings are on. At least
Mhm.
if it's a school day, then spend 30 minutes to an hour, like, reading or researching something or something non-video game."
Mhm.
Type of thing, because I'm just like, you have to keep your brain fresh. I'm like, you're just gonna have to sit and read 10 pages in a book every day, or it doesn't matter what it is, just something to kind of keep your brain from going completely mush, because the intention is for him to go back to school next year.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
if you get that much out of the routine, it can be that much harder to jump back into it and to be able to concentrate and take tests
Right.
again and do all that type of stuff. So,
Mhm.
Yeah, so we'll keep our fingers crossed from him. He's talking about, maybe being a pilot. I don't know. He was looking at a few things like that. So, well, because he's right now his major is computer science, so I don't know if
Yeah.
he's gonna make a complete left turn or maybe he'll look at all this other stuff and just be like, "Oh yeah, just let me finish this computer science degree and call it even." So,
Mhm.
who knows? But I went out on a ride along,
Ooh, tell
last
me about
week.
it.
So, shout out to McQuaid Jesuit High School crew, and John Coveney for letting me come out, John O. And so yeah, it was great. So I got there, and before I went out on the road, they were out of Genesee Waterways Center. They do have their own boathouse, kind of. There's like the main boathouse for big boats, small boathouse, and then the McQuaid boathouse. So um, before I went out with them, I went out in the double with my doubles partner and we went for a row. It was nice. It was sunny, it was warm. We got back and the clouds were starting to come over and I was like, "Oh, well, it might rain. Let me just put my I had like my workout clothes on and I was like, "Oh, let me just put a raincoat over me." Just it seemed like it was going to drizzle. So we get there and I'm talking and we're going back and forth and then all of a sudden the clouds get very, very dark. And so then we look at the weather bug, a
Mhm.
Krupa's greatest friend. The closest lightning was like, I don't know, 100 miles away. So it wasn't that it was gonna be like a thunderstorm, it was that it was just a rainstorm. So it was pretty heavy, then it started to lighten up. So the kids took the boats out. We get out there in the launch and it just hurricanes. All
Oh,
of a
jeez.
sudden all the rain came down at once, and then it was windy, and the boats were going everywhere, and they had a double and 2 eights out, and, there were some other crews that were out in 4s, and it was just like it was raining so hard, we were under the 390 overpass, so if you're familiar with the Genesee, we haven't gone very far because the 390 overpass is kinda like the Peace Bridge from west.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like you've gone basically nowhere, and, like, it's raining so hard, and we're trying to decide whether, like, should we not go back? And we're like, "No, no, no, we're gonna stay out." So, at this point, I'm wearing just my raincoat. I didn't put my full rain gear on because I didn't think it was gonna rain. I've got sneakers on. I'm wearing exercise clothes that are wet already from sweating, and so, like, I am so cold. I'm trying not to think about it, and then I was
Mhm.
thinking to myself, "This is why I don't coach in the spring." This is spring. This is how spring feels in
Yeah.
Rochester, New Coach. It's just like it's wet, it's cold. I didn't
Mhm.
have any gloves. I couldn't even close my hands. It was that
Mhm.
cold. Like I just
Wow.
completely chilled to the bone because the temperature went from 75, 80 when I had
Yeah.
rowing, dropped down to like 60 something, and I'm soaking wet.
Yeah.
Socks wet, everything's wet. And like the kids get back and water out of the boats and everything like that. And I mean, yeah, it was wild. But I mean, just what was neat and what's always fun is seeing the kids at the very beginning of the season and like just the multiple levels of skill.
Mhm.
Like, just having to, as a coach, be like, okay, like not everybody's 100%. So you might have like, I don't know, maybe your stroke person, your 7 person are pretty good. And for your bigger kids, like your kids who are just big kids, you got them in the middle and they're still trying to figure the form out. And
Mhm.
you got your little teensy weensy kids who can barely put the blade in the water in the bow pair. And just kind of seeing like, because eventually I'm going to see that boat row by and they're all going to be rowing together and it's going to look very clean and it's going to look
Mhm.
very polished. So it was kind of neat just to kind of like take a second to enjoy the fact that, like, it's not always perfect in the
Mhm.
beginning and, like, how fun it is as a coach to, like, kind of be like, "Okay, this is what I'm working with. This is what I'm starting with."
Mhm.
And at the very end of the season, watching them row by and be and very looking very sharp and very put together, and I think that's what I really enjoy about, like, juniors rowing is that there's, like it goes from, like, being really, really trash to being, to being, like, really good, like, you get
Mhm.
those kids, you get just the right number of people clicking together and understanding the drills. It was funny, they were doing, like, pick drill and clashing oars. Somebody was like, would be off a stroke, so they would completely stop, and, like, kinda hold the oar and have that deer in the headlight look, and then they'd be like and then going back up and start again kinda thing. It was fun. It was really neat just to kind of watch that, and then they took out 2 eights, but there was also a double out there. So the double, they were experienced.
Okay.
However, they are high school boys. So, you know how it is when you're coaching and you got 2 boats, and then you got that 3rd boat, and that 3rd boat just like they're like, "Whatever, coach. See you at the end of practice," kinda thing. So they were way out ahead, and every once in a while, I'd look out and I'm like, "What is going on out there?" I'm like, "He's really digging that starboard oar." I'm like, "What the heck is he doing?" And so, like, they were far away, so, like, you know, we finally pull up to them and realize that he had put the oar because it's a sculling boat, he put the
Yeah.
oar in on the wrong side of the pin.
Ugh.
And he rode, I don't know,
Oh my gosh.
4,000, 5,000
Wow.
meters like that. I was laughing so hard because when we pulled up, John was like, he's like, "Can you look at your oar lock and, can you look at your oar?" He's like, "I don't know what's up, coach. It's acting all sorts of weird." And then, of course, they're both sitting in the boat in the middle of the river, and you want them to he's gonna have to take it out and then put it back in the right way. And the one guy is like the kid who's sitting in front of him at one point, he's, like, looking at him while he's trying to do "No, no, 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 no," like, he had to, like like, actually vocalize 'cause usually when I do a ride along, I try not to say anything because I mean, look, I'm just watching practice, I'm listening, I'm trying to learn when I do a
Mhm.
ride along, but I was like, "Hold those oars even." I'm like, "Nest the handles, please, nest the handles," while he's trying to take literally taking an oar out of the oar lock, flipping the yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you have to get out there pretty far. You got a lot of body weight on the other side of the boat. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was wild.
Mhm.
It was so funny. So,
Ugh.
yeah, it was super cool, like, it was just nice being out there even though it was so cold.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's one reason why I don't do it anymore.
It's funny how in this time of the year, like 60 is cold, but in the spring, it's like, "Whoa, it's a heat wave.
It's
We're not
like,
used to
"Wait,
this." Um,
take my winter hat off."
so, I'm curious, do you know what kind of boat it is that has that? Because some boats you can't do that to, right? But my single, you can, like, it
Yeah.
swivels all the way around, so you have to.
Sweat.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So that it would yeah, spin all the way out.
Yeah.
You have the well, because Swifts, you can get the backstays for them so that they
Mhm.
won't do that. But then it makes it hard if it's a single, then it makes it hard to put it in. I know that I've played around with Swifts that had the backstays on them, and, like, it's really, like, when you're trying to put the single in by yourself, it
Oh, yeah.
it has to be like, you carry it on your head, right? The
I
whole
do. Yep.
thing? Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't have a back. Wait, do I have a backstay? Ours looks different. So ours is like, so it's a Millennium Vespoli,
Mhm.
and it has the wing, the riggers, so it points towards the stern. So it like comes out here and then the riggers are here. I think that's right. Whereas seeing them the opposite, right? Where it
Wow.
kind of like comes out and
Right,
then
yeah.
points towards the bow. Um, but then at where it comes out and then the oarlocks are, it can go all the way around. And I've done that once, where I've put it in on the wrong direction. And I literally was right off the dock and I realized I could not row and I realized what I did.
Mhm.
And the current was really strong that day. I probably shouldn't have been out on the single, but it was like during I think the juniors were coming back and I had just launched. And I literally like, I had to try and figure out how to get rowing so I could get back to the dock, and then somebody had to, like, pull me in because I couldn't even
Yeah.
maneuver. Yeah, it was very challenging, so, wow, that's impressive to go 4,000 meters. At least it was a double, but,
Yeah, it
like.
was a double. So, like, I'm
Yeah.
sure yeah, it's wild what these kids can do. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just funny. And they have a bid for, I think, a 4
Oh,
for
okay.
the Charles. So,
Nice.
I was talking to John about, oh, selection. How do
Mhm.
you do it? I mean, John's been coaching for years. I mean, he's an amazing guy. Always he has 2 teams. He coaches for St. John Fisher, and he also coaches
Okay.
for McQuaid.
Mhm.
So a juniors team and a college team,
Yeah.
um, and I'm just like, "How do you do it? How do you pick your Charles boats
Mm.
out, you know, dropping a bomb in the middle of your team?" You know what I mean? Because I mean, I've dropped a bomb in the middle of my team trying to do that, and, he was just like, "Well, everybody's gonna," he's like, "I've got a good idea of who I want to choose, and then, from there, he's gonna have them do their two not 2Ks, but 5Ks or 20-minute tests, and
Mhm.
kinda go from there," and said, he's super excited about it, and it'll be he said he hasn't been with McQuaid since 2017, I think he
Wow.
said. So
Okay.
it's been a while, so and I
Mhm.
can understand, like, as a trip, like, going out to Boston, especially for I mean, you guys are a little bit closer, but
Mhm.
it's still a trek for you guys, and it's such a big regatta. You
Yeah.
gotta kind of, think about, what equipment are you taking? When do you book the hotels? All that type of did you guys
Yeah.
get good? Did you guys get
Yeah, so Shen, because we're on our own this year, we used to be part of ECAC. This year we're doing our own thing. And so Shen put in a bid. We put in 3 bids. 2 were boys' boats, one was a girls' boat, and the girls' boat got selected. So I think as far as I know, the boys are on a wait list. I don't know when or if they'll hear for sure, or if they don't, then it's no. I know. I don't know how the wait lists work. And then just like once the bids were in, once they, requested the boats, we went ahead and reserved the hotel rooms just because the earlier the better. You can always cancel them, but it's really hard to get hotel rooms.
Oh,
Like like after well, I'm trying to think. When I went and I rode in 2021, I think I got my hotel room in July, early July. And by then it was really hard. So that's a pro tip in the future for anyone has anybody who may make the Charles, if you're a parent or if you are a new coach and you might have a boat that possibly could get into the Charles. Whoever does your hotel arrangements, just book it as soon as possible because
yeah.
prices just keep going up, the availability keeps going down, and it just becomes like you're gonna be like driving an hour and a half at the closest the closest you're gonna get.
I know, when I did it last year, they thought that we were that we were gonna be able to get, like, there's, like, athlete housing, and a lot of times they only open this athlete housing up to, like, Olympians who are coming in, like, there's, like, people who offer to open their home to
Mhm.
people, and so Rowing in Color had gotten a couple of these slots, and so I thought I was going to get one of those slots, and then it didn't work out, so then I was scrambling, and luckily I have some friends who live in Boston, and they actually weren't there that weekend. I only saw them for, like, half a day, and then, they let me stay in their apartment, so um, yeah, so I completely lucked out, and it was great, and they live in Somerville, so
Mhm.
a quick 10-minute T ride or whatever the name of the
Yeah, tea.
yeah, so, yeah, it was perfect, like, it was just and then I was close enough that I could Uber easily. Sometimes I Ubered, sometimes I took the T, it just depended on how much time I had. But, yeah, I can't imagine how much those hotels are costing.
Yeah.
$1,800 a night or something like I mean, like, it's just silly, like, it's just, like, it's a ridiculous amount of money, if you wanna stay close. It's the one that's, the Alton Studios, is that the one that's, like, right across from
I
the
don't know.
Studio Alton is, like, a hotel that's, like, right across, the way. I stayed there once when I did a biomechanics, like, in training workshop thing that I went to,
Mhm.
and, it's a beautiful hotel. Each room is, like, its own design kinda thing, and it's right across I mean, like, literally across the street from the water, but I can't imagine what it is during Charles time. And like I said, it has to be over
Yeah.
$1,000 a night. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
convenient because, like, you could literally walk back and forth, and I mean, I'm sure there's people who are just like, "I don't care. I wanna be, like, right there. I
Mhm.
don't wanna have to move my car the whole time that I'm there," and, like, so it makes sense, but
Mhm.
what about an expensive date to be there for those couple days in Boston because there's just
Mhm.
and there's other stuff going on too. I don't think, like,
Yeah.
Charles is the only thing that's happening, even though, like, for us, it is the only thing that happens in Boston, but,
Mhm. Usually there's Red Sox games going on.
Oh,
There's,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know what else. Lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's a busy time of year, so
Mhm.
and schools, all the different schools, I'm sure some of them are having their open houses at that point, and,
Mhm.
it's just it's a big deal, and then trying to figure out, like, do you open up the experience to the whole team? Do you make it so that everybody can come down and enjoy, the experience? Because it's more than just the rowing. There's enough experience in that for anyone who is a rower to really get value out of it, even if you don't get a chance to get out on the course. Um, but it's expensive and, like, time-wise and all that type of thing, and so, you have maybe like, if you have just 1 boat that you're taking, you only have those 9 people that you're taking. Those families get this really, like, awesome experience, and then the rest of the team kinda feels, like, left out, and it's, like, right there in the middle of the season too, because the week after is, Schuylkill or Head of the Fish, or, like, there's bigger races that kinda come after it, so you're kind of like, do you have, like, this weekend where some people have off, and then some people are going to, like, one of the greatest rowing events ever, and, like, they come back kind of, like, from this almost like, in Survivor when someone comes back from a reward challenge, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this was so awesome," and they bring back, like, they got a new jacket, and they got a new hat, and they've got stickers, and, like, all this hype, and they're like, I saw them making oars, and I saw them da da da, I saw this, I saw that," and everybody else is like, Can you stop talking about the Charles? You went, you won your spot, whatever." You know what I mean? Like, how do you, like, not keep your team from feeling like that? I don't
Yeah. It's a lot to manage. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But are you planning on, I mean, like, I know that we talked about the Mohawk Classic and potentially
Mhm.
in the live feed for that, and I
Yeah.
did talk to Luke about that,
Oh,
so
good.
but he was like, "Well, I need to talk to my broadcast teacher because they do live feeds through their broadcast class, and there's like a special board or something that they use for that, a special like media thing. So I
Mhm.
don't know if that's something that he'd be able to borrow or it'd be something that you can kind of set up. And then like, as far as it could just be as easy as a live on like either YouTube or something, but he was like, "You might need your own, like, Wi-Fi feed and how to do that," the whole thing. So he's working on it, he'll get it figured out maybe in the next week or 2. Once he's back
Okay.
in school, full swing a little bit, I can have him reach out to his broadcast teacher and see if he can figure out how to do it, and then we'll just do it. It'll be fun.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm gonna dig out those, GoPros and see if I can
Oh, yeah.
give it a test run, maybe at practice or something, and see like what the quality is like from shore and then like facing the water. And we'll see. We'll use what we got, you know?
We'll make it work. Maybe, this will be just like a test run. The first
Yeah.
year kind of pulling all the information together and figuring out how we could do something like that. And maybe then that would be something we could do at other regattas too. We'll show up and do our
Mhm.
own little like live stream, talk to people, and yeah, it'll be a
Yeah,
lot.
because like Pittsburgh doesn't have a live stream.
No,
Um,
I don't think
that
so.
would be a good one.
Yeah, that would be a fun one because
Mhm.
you just sit right there and people passing by, and
Yeah.
it's so close to the boats that when the boats would come by and people would see
Yeah.
and people would be like, wow. I mean, you can really pick people out.
Right.
Some of these live streams, sometimes you can't really
Mhm.
take out who's who in each of the boats, so that'd be a
Yeah.
good one. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, well, they do pull the plug, which is in the
Mhm.
fall. Do you guys come to pull the plug?
I know the masters have gone out before. I can probably pull up our we use Discord to communicate and see if anybody's signed up to do that. Um, so they did ask me to be like the alternate for the Charles.
Oh, look at you.
Uh, but I'm just like because somebody who originally said they were going to do it has been injured, so I think the plan would be I don't actually know what the plan would be, but I told them, I said, I don't have a lot of extra time to do practices. And I know that they're like really hoping to get out a lot
Mhm,
beforehand. And I don't think I can do that. But if I'm going to be there, and I don't know if I'm going to be there yet, I don't know when the head of the girls are chosen. Um, but, um, if I am there, I said I don't mind being it. I just don't want to be part of like the leading up to it. I mean, I'll go to practice and I'll try and stay in shape as much as I can, but it always happens this way. It gets very stressful in trying to manage the head of the Charles groups because they do want to get out so many times, but like everybody has, challenging schedules to line up. So it's a lot of communication and then not always a lot more extra practices that actually happen.
yeah.
So I just want to like not be part of that if I can avoid it. I'd love to do it again. Again, I have no expectations. I think that's the other thing is that like, people want to show up and actually be competitive, but at this point, I don't know.
Hard. It's hard because
It is.
some people are have been training since, I don't know,
Yeah.
since the spring, or boats that really like are competitive all season long.
Right.
They've done the sprint season together and now they're
Mhm.
heading into head race training and they're just like, former, Division 1 monster size people who like continue
Yeah.
to row and you're just like, I don't know if
Yeah.
I can devote that much time. Getting out on the water like, twice a week seems daunting to me. To get out 3
Yeah.
times, that seems like
Right.
bananas. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a lot.
It's a lot, and we don't row force. We barely ever row force because we row eights because it gets more people out on the water, and we'll be lucky to have one or two coxswains. So we've been pretty lucky, and like we had our coxswain Jackson just graduated. He's off to Loyola, and so we've got our new people that are mixing in now, and some of them are, um, children of like a nearby rowing team. She rows with us. Her kids row at Niski, and so we try to like make sure we have them available, because we typically have been having two eights at all of our masters practices, and then there'll be like a double or an extra quad or something like that. But to get a four out, usually we just most of the time to take a quad, and there's a lot of people who prefer to scull, so sculling is definitely more what we're used to, but I think they put the fours in because it's so challenging to do a bow steering for
Yeah.
that race. So, they put in the bids for the fours. I think the men have a four too. So now it's going to be also, I don't know if one of the boats has a coxswain already or if they both need to find a coxswain. That's
Oh,
always going to be a challenge. I know when we did it, it was a challenge, but luckily, it worked out and we got somebody who used to be our coxswain when she was in high school and she was then in college, not going to the Charles. But yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I'd rather every someone else have the opportunity because I feel like I had my opportunity that I was waiting my whole life to go and row at the Charles, and I had it,
mhm.
and it was great, and I loved every minute of it. But, I feel like it was a bucket list. Like I checked it off.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll go back on the bucket list or like for something like different event or something. But for now, I'm kind of happy not rowing in it. I'm excited to be watching it more than anything. Yeah, so we'll see. Well, I hope I get to go to watch. But if not, there's always, there's at least Keegan's rowing, so he's got three more, well, this year, 4 more years of high school. And right now Hannah's planning on rowing in college and we'll see. Maybe she'll be rowing there in college.
That would be awesome. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, the Charles, it's a
It's
big,
cool.
yeah, it's big all around as far as like, are you rolling? Are you not? Are you going? Are you watching? Like, because people are like, are you gonna go down there? I'm like, I don't think I can go there this year because Luke has, of course, it's senior year, and he has, I think it's like a county championship that
Mm,
weekend, and the county championship is always at our home course. And so they always do something. It's not senior day, but it's like a big deal for the seniors. Then the banners will be up. It'll be a big thing. Really
yeah.
miss the race. So last year when I didn't go to that race, it wasn't as big of a deal because he was a junior and
Hmm.
it was okay. But like for this year, I'm kind of like trying to make sure that I make it to all the races last Friday. He's like, "I have a race today." I'm like, "You have a race today?" I'm like, "The school hasn't even started." So they at one of the local colleges at Fisher, they were holding like invitational and they had the kids in the morning and they had the people from the college kids who are cross country people, they were doing their race in the evening. And so his race was something like, I don't know, 10:45 or something in the morning. I was like, my mom had a doctor's appointment. I like had to take her to an appointment, brought her back. I was like looking at my watch. I'm like, can I make it there on time? And like, it's the worst thing about cross country is it's like rowing. Like you miss the start time. Someone rows by, you don't see them. Like that's how
Hmm.
it is. Same with cross country. If you're not out there and you miss it, you missed it. There's no kind of like, oh, the game's gonna go for X amount of hours or whatever. It's you
Right.
you just miss it. So, if, you have that 15-minute window and like boop, it's done. But I did make it on time. Race number one is done. I did attend it. I'm gonna try to get to all of his races because I mean, senior year, like I said, is like boop, and
Mhm.
everything's over. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
It's my first senior year, Adrian, so I'll be looking to you for some advice.
get it done early. I think get everything done
Yeah.
early. Like if you're gonna, even for me right now, I should probably call the caterer for the for the graduation party. I already know what the day is gonna be. I already know what like starting to get things kind of just on the docket and done because that's the hardest part is just that there's just like everything has a little extra step because it's senior year. Like, I'm sure the crew team does like a senior day. So gotta mark that on the calendar and then getting the senior banner done and then coordinating with the other moms, like, get the banners hanging at the particular events and, like, doing all that kinda stuff, and, of course, I signed up to be parent liaison for for cross country. Tim's like, "Don't sign up." I'm just like, "Well, he's a senior, and I've kind of benefited from other parents doing it the other years, so I didn't have to do it. I kinda know the routine.
Mhm.
We gotta do concession stands this Friday. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So I put a Google sign up. I haven't double checked it in a while. Last time I checked, we only had 4 people and we needed 5. So, I'm hoping that somebody else signed up so I don't have to go on Friday and do concession.
Do they have concessions at track meets? I'm so like ignorant to other
So
sports.
the boosters run concessions at their
Okay.
school, and so there's stuff that happens at the complex, and so the concessions will be open, and so when the concessions are open, they make a list of teams that don't have an event that day, and so then those teams have to send 4 to 5 people, at least one of them has to be an adult, but the other 4 can be, like, the kids from the actual team. And so you volunteer your time there and they do the concessions and like it could be I don't know if it's a football game, it could be
Oh, okay.
you know, oh, what's in season? So football, soccer, field hockey? Maybe? I don't know. I think and then there's also like middle school of that too. And they
Mhm.
the big field. So yeah. So all of the fall sports that are in season and like even like they put us on their track and field too. So like track and field and swimming are supposed to have like one day. And so that those are both spring sports that they put into this fall sport thing. But I mean, they just need enough teams and people, enough warm bodies to hand out the hot dogs and give the kids the lollipops when they want them. So it looks like that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly what I know football, definitely maybe boys lacrosse. Did you say lacrosse?
I think girls swimming is in the fall, no?
Girls Oh yeah, that's right. Girls swimming's in the
Mhm.
fall. So yeah, so like any of those sports would then support this. So
Okay.
and the boosters give money to each of the team sports to do different stuff. So it kind of like at the volunteering kind of and what the concession stand raises then goes into the booster fund and then the
Hmm.
boosters pass that out for uniforms and that kind of stuff. So the
Okay.
teams get something back for it.
Mhm.
It's not just the volunteering, but yeah, but someone's got to coordinate that to make sure that the people show up. So
Right.
I was hoping that I wouldn't have to go to every single concession stand. To tell you the truth, I've never done concessions. I have somehow gotten out of it. Tim has done it, and Timmy's done it before. It just timing wise, a lot of times there's somewhere else, somewhere someone needs to be somewhere else, and I'm taking the someone somewhere else usually.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I signed up for that, and then I signed up to help with my daughter's synchronized swimming team, I think that's probably why I feel a little chaotic, is that it's like it's that time of year where people's like are asking you, "Can you help with this? Can you help with that?" And I was at the boathouse, and one of the coaches came up to me, he's like, "Hey, do you have time to, like, coach, like, middle school modified?" I'm like, "No." Would I love to do it? Yeah, I'd love to do it, like, but
Mhm.
do I have time to do it? No, I definitely don't. You feel bad because like, every single team that I've talked to has been like, "Oh, are you coaching this fall?"
Seriously, we desperately we need a head coach. So we've got coaches for Shen, but there's definitely a push for like wanting someone to have the head role. And so right now we don't have a head coach, but we've kind of got like three people sharing the head coach. They're yeah, so and then Burn Hills is like they're down of like I think they only have two right now total. So yeah, and a lot of people are needing coaches. I still think it's a huge we saw this like Hannah and Keegan, I don't even know if Keegan was, but Hannah was more into summer swimming during COVID and like as we were going through COVID and trying to find coaches. And I feel like it dried up a whole bunch of pipelines for coaching because it's just like a step by step thing, right? If you're going to end up being a coach, most of the time you start off by helping out after, like in the summertime, we had a bunch of our kids that were helping out at the boathouse this summer. And then and after that, like you still enjoy that. So then maybe you get hired to do like some assistant coaching for the summer for the Learn to Row, right? And then after that, you go to college, you do your thing, and then you come back, or maybe you coach while you're working somewhere, and then you do that as a part-time gig, or you coach masters or something. But a lot of those pipelines dried up because we didn't have those initial opportunities for people to kind of like try it out and see if they like it and kind of get their feet wet in it. And we're seeing that now, I think mostly at the head coach, or people are really wanting somebody who has that experience and is ready to kind of take over right from the bat. We don't have a lot of those people because they kind of found other places that they belonged and that they were going towards. And I think it's going to be like I was talking to one of the college coaches this past week, and you know, higher ed is just challenging in general. And then you talk about like working in higher ed as a coach. That's another thing that it's hard to find people who want to work in that environment. And
Yeah.
it's very like volatile right now. Like it's just people don't know what's happening and where it's going. And like, I don't know. It's tough. So, I mean, and it's not a sport. It's very easy to just like throw someone into that seat that doesn't have any experience
Yeah.
because, like we talked about with Matt, there's a lot of safety things that if you're also trying to learn how to keep everyone safe because you don't know how it's done, you've never been through it, the learning curve is just too big. So,
Yeah,
I don't
'cause
know.
I mean, it's tough. Like you said, we need those pipelines. We need those summertime opportunities for you can't teach someone new how to be a coach in the spring. The spring is the worst. It's
Mhm.
dangerous. It's cold. There's decisions that you're making kind of like on the fly. Like, John's just an example. When we were out in the water and the wind's going sideways and it's raining really hard, that's his call. Like
Mhm.
that we stayed out on the water. You know, like he knew enough about the waterway. He knew he had looked at the radars. He had decided he'd done things like, like all the different experience kind of melded into him being able to make a decision which was appropriate. Like I mean, it was raining hard and windy and kind of dangerous for a couple moments, but he was, of course, an experienced coach who knew that he could keep his boats off the shore. None of his boat, and they started to drift into the shore. He knew the right calls to give them to make them feel confident that they could stay centered in the river and then continue to practice and that takes experience. If you're brand new, I know that there probably wouldn't have been a brand new coach would be like, "Okay, take the boats back." Would have gotten back to the dock, got everything out, and then the sun would have come out. Like, you know what I mean? Then you look stupid. Like, so,
Mm.
like, you kind of like it's a hard thing to just kinda learn on the fly, even just, like, the idea that you're driving an outboard motor. If you're
Mhm.
not already comfortable with that, to drive, hold your megaphone, and then to be close to the boats at the same time, because you know how these kids are, they'll drift their boat into your boat. If you can't maneuver that outboard comfortably, like, to get away, to not be or the fact that, like, even like, because at one point, I think we almost got pinned into the shore because the crew was like they were trying to stay towards the shore, there were people who were passing us, and the launch was, like, right behind, like, you know, when you're doing that, you have to know how quickly you can hit reverse, hit for like, how maneuverable that just the launch is so that you're not going to put the boats that you're watching in danger,
Mhm.
and all of that takes so much time. I think back to when I was assistant coaching, a lot of times the first time I was coaching, I didn't have to drive. I mean, I had parent like when I was at Fairport,
Mhm.
we had parent drivers. And so like I spent a lot of my time not necessarily having to drive all that much, which was good because I could concentrate on what I was going to say as a coach.
Mhm.
When I got to Narden, I had to drive all the time, and at Westside they had the ones with the steering wheel, which
Mhm.
drive completely different than when you're driving an outboard. And I remember training coaches when I was at Mercy on the outboard, and like some of them were really finicky,
Yeah.
um, I think of the coach who's, like, always scanning the water or the shoreline for a nice stick. Stick that's this big? What I'm gonna do with this stick that's about this big? Okay, because that motor doesn't stay up, and I need that stick to shove in the back of that motor so it'll go up so the kids can pull the, launch out of the water, like, those are all things that, like, you sorta learn while
Mhm.
you're out there, and, like, if you don't have that opportunity or, um I think of so many times I didn't have enough ballast in the front of my boat, so then I'm, like,
Mhm.
taking all of the equipment and shoving it in the bow of the boat or, just, like, being cognizant of, like, the rope on the front of the boat, if that doesn't end up inside the boat, like, checking that it so it doesn't get stuck in the motor, like, there's, like, all these different things that, like, you learn over time or, getting comfortable with bringing an outboard motor up to, like, a boat to switch kids in and out. Like,
Mhm.
that's no joke, like,
Right.
that always makes me nervous, and I'm the coach who, like, I'll bring it up close enough, and then I'm like, "Okay, I'm shutting the motor off." I just because like, God forbid, you turn it
Right.
away and you jam it into the 8, like, you just
Yeah.
and I'll bring it up, I'll get into position, I'll float in, I'll have them grab me, I'll turn the motor off, and then when they're done switching, I'll have them push me off, have the
Mhm.
cox push away, and then I'll turn the motor back on because like, that's the way I feel safe doing it, like, but you have to learn all that for time. That's taking kids in and out of boats a couple different times and being comfortable that you can do it without hurting anybody or comfortable that you can do it without, like, pushing the boat all the way into the shore.
And that's just one aspect of coaching, right? You've got so many other aspects of it, and some of it is really challenging. Communicating with parents and the school and, like, dealing with, the interpersonal stuff going on with the rowers. It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and
But, yeah, I think I hope that the sport we get there because I think it is kind of a nice thing to have experience doing, like, and what we used to have a lot of college rowers that were our coaches, and I kind of feel like that would be a nice way to introduce them into that again, like,
mm,
have them if they have different practice times, have them come down and, like, learn how to drive a launch, like,
yeah.
see what it's like to be a coach. I know these people are going to get college degrees. They're probably not thinking they want a career in junior coaching, but, like, it's still a really nice way to give back, a way to just learn a new skill set and network with people. Lots of parents have lots of different jobs. You get to know them. They can make those connections.
And it's
I,
fun too,
it is fun. It's very
and you look
rewarding.
forward to when you're done with work, doing
Mhm.
something different. I
Mhm.
always felt like because I would be at work or at the hospital or at the clinic, and then at the end of the day, I would get to go out on the water, and I would get to be with rowing again, and it was just nice. It's like you were talking about, like, the interpersonal stuff and, the like, working with parents, and, I mean, that's hard, especially as you had, like, the into the space, head coach for a juniors team, you have another job, and then during the day, there's parents trying to call you, and you're like, "I'm at work too, this is not crew time, you're going to have to wait," like, you're shooting someone a text back, "I'm actively at work right now, I don't I appreciate being able to reach out and speak with you, we can speak after practice today at 6:30, let's make it," I remember constantly doing emails and, like, lunchtime was crew time, like, the
Mhm.
time that I didn't have to do work at the hospital when I was doing that, like, when I was, head coaching, I would spend my lunchtime looking at emails, looking at like, "Oh, the nurse sent me a note, so and so didn't make it to school in time, so they're not gonna be in the boat, like, so what am I gonna do?" Or, like, all of like, you're trying to it's really tough, and you have to really love doing it. be a full-time person working and then be a head coach because head coaching is
Yeah.
tough, but like you can't do it as a job per se because it's just there isn't enough support unless you're head coaching for multiple teams. Like,
Hmm.
you might be coaching a college team and you're coaching a juniors team and you might do masters sculling in the middle of the day. You can piece it all together, be a career, but it's really tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think we have to get going.
We're gonna solve all the rowing problems of the world and get all these
Well,
new coaches. So that there's just like extra coaches. Wouldn't that be nice? And you have extra coach here and there to call in, and some coaches who needed time could take some time off. That would be amazing. So maybe we'll encourage some people out there. So if you're listening to this and you were interested in coaching, talk to your coach and see if you can do some ride-alongs. Ride-alongs are a great way to kind of open up that door and see if you enjoy being in the launch and enjoy watching the rowing from a different perspective. So,
yeah, actually, I was not sure what we were going to talk about, so I think maybe we could do our own episode on recommendations for new parents that are new to
ooh,
sport. And ride-alongs was one of them. It definitely depends on your team and the person, like the head coach or whoever makes those calls. But I think if they offer that, that's a great way to see what it's really like. Because, like I said, you're not on a soccer field where you can just sit on the sidelines and watch the whole time. Like you can, there's really no place that you can watch much of anything
yeah,
unless you're in the launch.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. All
Have
right, Adrian, we'll have a
a great
good,
week. And
yes, good luck with the first week, first
oh,
days of
good luck with the
school.
first week for you too. And we'll do a first week of school recap on our next one, and then we'll dive into all of the things that are for new parents.
That sounds good. All
Awesome.
right.
All right, have a great week. You take
You
care.
too.